We're live, Mr. Wade. How are you, sir?
Good night. Good night. Good night to our viewers and listeners, both at home and abroad, and to those who will view us a little later. It's a pleasure to once again in this through this festive season to sit once more with true patriot, Mr. Leonard Brackett, in person, and
The pleasure is mine, Mr. Wade.
we we will be joined later by Mr. another patriot, Mr. Gregory Brackett. We'll join by him a little later. And I want to through this medium, Leonard, before we get into the show, I want to wish Miss Rubina Forte happy birthday.
All
One of
right.
our
Happy
one of our
birthday to
faithful
you. Happy birthday to
to you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday, happy
to
birthday,
you.
happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you. We wish
Wish
you many
you many
more.
more.
We wish
We wish
you
you many
many more.
more.
We wish
Oh,
you many more. Happy
happy birthday,
birthday, dear sister.
sister. All right. One of our faithful warrior along with us, Leonard,
An assistant
is
engineer.
an,
Assistant engineer.
assistant engineer.
Give her
Just
her
said it. That's a good title.
title and kudos. Giving
Yes,
her
sir.
a title and kudos.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Many a times, if it wasn't for her, many a times you wouldn't get it the way we.
I wouldn't get on, Leonard. You know that. That's for
You don't
sure.
know
That's
the
for
you
sure.
don't know the issues and the backgrounds that we have to go through now to present what we present up front with all the people that are supporting us in the back, on the sides.
Yes, sir. So true.
Thank you, sorry, Mr. Wade. Sorry for dipping
Go
in.
ahead, Leonard. Go ahead.
Is she close back? And I just say, I say,
Yes, 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 yes,
and thankfulness, no?
yes. Thank you, Leonard.
Okay.
Want to say
Uh,
person in person. You want to
good
say
good night, Ms. Rabina, and
Good
thank you
night.
very much for being our assistant engineer
You're
who has
welcome.
helped us be on the show. While a lot
Yeah,
of people don't realize and know who are the people behind the scenes.
behind the
Now
scene,
we have you.
exactly.
We can't see your face right now yet, but we still want to express our gratitude to you for all the support and help that you have given us, and one of our most constant supporters and viewers. God
Yes,
bless.
yes.
Thank you
Thank
very much.
you. Yeah, thank you. Uh-huh.
and also Leonard, and to all those who celebrate a birthday today, happy birthday to them also,
Yes,
and also belated birthday to Gregory Brackett. Also,
our chief
he is our chief engineer. He's went a couple days, right, Leonard? A
engineer.
couple days ago. Yes, happy birthday, my brother, and wish you many, 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 many more birthdays. Amen. And again, welcome to our 376th edition of our Belizean Affairs show. Um, give
What to
give
celebrate
you
tonight?
yes, sir. We give you thanks and praise, Leonard, for always, steadfast, and Greg, steadfast and keeping us together.
Mr. Chairman, I would say that the thanks goes to our Belizean brothers at home and abroad, and the praises goes to God.
Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that. We give them thanks and praise, Leonard, for supporting us, for sharing our show, and watching us, and most importantly, Leonard, as we're coming to the end of the year, we hope that you know all our programs, all our shows, and everything that, especially you on the Constitution, and we always been advocating for the poor and less fortunate. We just hope that they have taken away some energy, or learn something along the line, and it from our programs. I can't thank them enough, and like, again, the crew, I highly appreciated, and thanks to the crew for,
Amen.
although we have our ups and downs, and at some point we think that they want to cut us off the air for always speaking truth, because the truth is a item that they don't want to hear, Leonard. Most
Uh,
people don't want to hear the truth.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
they could keep on trying, but I'm not too sure how successful they will be.
Eh, True on that. And again, Leonard, thanks for us, to the crew for reaching this milestone 376 edition of this Belizean Affairs show. And not to mention the show I had before, the hot seat.
Yes, sir.
So, thank you for still being, here and holding steadfast. Um, Again, we always start our program with a prayer followed by a reading, and then Leonard asks you to, can you do the prayer and the reading for us here, on
Uh,
our 376 edition? Can you
yes,
do
sir.
the prayer and the reading, sir? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to collaborate with you. And I'll just bow my head and say the prayer first, after which I'll do the reading. Divine loving Father, once again we come before thy presence, asking that thou would accept our humble expression of gratitude for having given us the opportunity of life and the privilege to still be among our family members, friends, and loved ones, as well as our Belizeans at home and abroad, and others. We pray that thou mayest continue to guide and protect and bless us, give us wisdom, knowledge, understanding, endurance, perseverance. Grant us a bit of fortitude and strength that we may be able to sustain our effort in terms of having to speak truth to power when need be. We pray that thou mayest continue to bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership, that thou would bless this country of the United States, its people and leadership, and that thou would bless the rest of humanity, especially those people who have need of food and clothes and shelter, and who are suffering from all types and manner of disasters, whether it be from volcanoes, eruption, whether it be from hurricane, tornadoes, or whatever the issue may be, loving Father, thou art able to take us through all difficulties. Please bless this program tonight for us in mercies in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I'll
Can
proceed
you
to a
please,
little
yeah,
short reading for us, sir.
yes, sir. Can you
I'll read
please?
from, I'll read from the book of Proverbs, uh, um, and I'll read chapter 7, starting at verse 1. My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live, and my laws as the apple of thine eyes. Bind them upon the fingers, upon thy fingers. Write them upon the tables of thine heart. And that is the end of our reading for tonight. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
Thank,
sir.
thank you, Leonard. There's a lot going on still in our country, and it's so sad, Leonard, coming on to the end of 2025, Leonard. We still continue to see, some heinous murders. You know, um, you know, it's like uh, it's like life. My people, both at home and abroad, seems that life, nobody uh, seems to value life anymore. Well, I won't say nobody, but there's a lot of people out there that seems to not value life. Um, I don't know, if these people that are committing these heinous those crimes, this heinous killing, if they are human. That I would like to know if these people are human beings, or if they are something in human form. I don't know, but Leonard, My condolences through our Belizean Affairs show to the double murder, the Garbutt family and Crawford family who had lost their loved one a couple days ago in the Hummingbird. They were found murdered in that delivery vehicle. The vehicle belonged, they were working for the Resinos company. Um, so our condolences through our Belizean Affairs show condolences to the family, and we hope, Leonard, we hope and pray that these murderers, these criminals, uh, are caught and been brought to justice, and that the family, Leonard, and like family of a lot of murders, of a lot of victims, I hope that you know at some point they find closure, Leonard,
Amen.
closure. So so sad, you know, to see that how the people who we elect to protect and serve us, um, they they have a problem, Leonard, with coming forward with truth to the nation and to the people. It's always, and they know the truth, but the lies and the cover-ups seems that it's easier to say than the truth. And we have been seeing that, happening for centuries now. And I want to welcome, before I proceed, I want to welcome Mr. Gregory Brackett, our senior engineer, and who put a lot of the programs together. I want to say a pleasant good night and welcome, Leonard. I mean, Sarah Bragg to the program here tonight. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say good night to the people at home and abroad, and good night to you, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure sitting with you virtually, talking about Belizean affairs. I also want to thank the people who tune in and those who will tune in later on this 376th edition of Belizean affairs. I go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you very much. And always, special thanks to you for, for putting it out there, how we call it, show and tell. Everything we talk about comes from their very own actions and their very own words. So thank you for, able to do that. Thank you. Um, like I was saying, Greg, you know, I talk about truth, and then I talk about the heinous murder, double murder, 2 days ago in the Hummingbird from the Racino's delivery employees. Um, you know, and I was talking about truth. Um, it seems that every time there is a pattern and a lot of murders being committed. You know, our leaders, you know, always find some way to polish these things up and not been truthful, right, to the Belizean people. They go around it and then come to a statistic, oh, statistics says this and murders are down and this is down and that is down, poverty is down, unemployment is down, and we have everything under control. Like I said, just seems to be afraid of speaking the truth. But the only thing I can say here with us here on Belizean Affairs, we speak truth. We speak truth. Every time we sit here, we speak truth. not afraid to speak truth. So, we watch lately how this present government, we watch their actions, we watch the things that they say that they will do for the people and nation, and we see that they do not do it, and we see the things that they do publicly that is not right, publicly, in the eyes of any foolish person like me, any uneducated person like me, right? If I can see these things, I can't see how, for the hell of it, all the so-called intellects, all the best minds, all these attorneys, and all these people in high position, they just don't have the balls and the guts to come out and speak truth and call a lie and say truth. And we see how they come out and spin the truth to facilitate the system, facilitate it, shove it along the things that comes out of their mouth, facilitate it, facilitate the garbage that comes out of the prime minister's mouth. Namely, that's just one person I'm talking about. All the lies that comes out of that gentleman's mouth, that individual's mouth, and then he has his minions. Like it's, they don't see the wrong, right? And they just facilitate it right along, right? And they quote certain laws sometimes, which is not true, right? Because when you do the research, you see that it's all lies, right? But then again, they say, who will go and do the research, and Greg and Leonard, who will go and do the research to see if we are lying? Who will do that? The regular man on the street will not do that. So we will continue to lie to the Belizean people, right? We see how they abuses their powers, the powers vested upon them by the people. We see how they abuse it, right? And they don't hide and abuse it. They come to the media right in their face, right? And blatantly abuses their power. We see how they treat Jules Vasquez, right? Jules Vasquez on Channel 7. We see the things that, and then later on he comes around and say, he's sorry, and they will not do it again, right? So I bring this out because there's a lot of things happening, right? And our people need to be, they need to open their eyes, right? And you see how they're playing around now with the new traffic ordinance, the new traffic laws that is geared to burden the bicycle riders, the motorcycle riders, because they are the ones that committing and causing all the accidents, or most of the accidents, when we hear different from export. And they having a little problem with that one. I'm glad that we here on Belizean Affairs advocate for the wrong in what they're trying to do with that $300 penalty, right? And seems now that it's rubbing off like a lot of things that we on this program talk about. And for some reason, it gets in their ear. Well, you know what? People they talk about it, because so and so, and then they hear so and so. And then, they deter their actions. So it seems like Greg and Leonard, they're considering now about that $300 because it comes from the mouth of the Prime Minister. Well, we put a hold on that. We're thinking about that, right? Why? If we didn't if there were people out there never talking about this thing and how wrong it is, they would have passed that already. That would have been a done deal. But I'm glad for our advocacy. You know, we see how I hope that people both at home and abroad see how we talk about the kidnapping of Budna, right? And we say publicly that, you know, whatever the wrongs that Mr. Budna did, whatever he had done, we have laws in this country, man. Why isn't he apprehended? Why hasn't he been put in front of the magistrate or the judge, right? And he was running around for many years, right? He's running around for many years, interviewing different people. The prime minister, if he was a wanted man, and he was that monster that the prime minister called him, man, he shouldn't. And the prime minister had the power, since he's that monster and he could prove that Budna is a monster. Why haven't he got him arrested? Why? He has the power to do that. But we are talking about the way they went about it, doing the kidnapping, and up to this day, still covering up. Now the book is on the table of the DPP, right? And I said how I felt about that. So she better be very careful how she deals with this situation, because they might just dismiss her and put somebody else there that will, play along and tag along with their agenda. But I will not say much more. I will go to Mr. Gregory Brackett, because I know he has something that he want to put forward, and then we will discuss it. Go ahead, Greg, please. Go ahead, Greg.
I'm not sure if he's hearing us.
Oh, okay. Leonard, you want to?
He must be working on something else. Greg, I think
Yes.
his camera looks freeze.
I think he's freeze up.
The picture on his camera seemed to look like, but I heard him in the background just now. He said yes. Gregory?
I'm right here.
Yes. Go ahead, Greg. Go ahead, Greg.
Based on what you were saying, Mr. Chairman, I want to go to a first state so the people at home and abroad can process what is going on and stay in line with us.
I think that the public has to be able to distinguish between what you are broadcasting and what I actually have available to me by way of evidence on a file. You are serving a very important function. The public needs to be aware of what is happening. But I think that some persons may be thinking, because Jules said it, the DPP can rely on it, the DPP can use it. I can't carry you to court to say any of those things you're screaming about. So we are at the point where we have a file that does not implicate anyone in anything. And we have to ensure that we get it to the point where the truth can be told. But while we're doing that, I just need people to understand that Jules is not in charge of this investigation. Jules won't be in charge of this prosecution. But do what you're doing, because this is your function.
Mr. Chairman and people at home and abroad, I think the representative of the DPP is speaking out of context. For the mere fact that you have received a next to nothing file, have it not been from Mr. Joe Brackett and Channel 7, along with social media, keeping the fire burning. And what taken place with Mr. Budna, we would not be where we are today. It's also important to say and to respond to what he said is that we know for a fact Mr. Vasquez is not a litigator, and his research, while some will and can be taken into evidence,
Mm-hmm.
we don't know if they will use it, but it sure can. I think what the DPP is saying should be pointed to the Prime Minister who obstructed this case from going to the DPP,
In the first place.
and they continue to do that. I go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Well said, Greg. Well said, and it's like I always say, anyone with a clear conscience and could read and write and have a comprehension level of comprehension could analyze that. Who are the real persons that are perverting justice? Back to you, Leonard. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. But as usual, in matters of this nature, especially when the legal minds are involved and or are making statements, I don't bite my tongue. I don't care who you are, whether you are the Chief Justice, much less just the DPP. Because I've flagged the Attorney General as well, and I've flagged other justices sitting on the bench for their shortcoming. So don't expect me to bite my tongue or hold back, because I can do so not only with my own words or my own ideas, opinions that I'm entitled to constitutionally, but I can do so with the Constitution itself. As I said before, the process of this particular platform is that we're going to hang the Constitution around all accountable officers' neck as an albatross. That being said, as a preface, let me deal with the point of contention. Before I deal with with what the DPP alluded to on that tape, because she has made different other statements too. But before I go there, let me go back to what initially we were complaining about. That is that the Prime Minister attempted, well, not only just attempted, but did, as a matter of fact, demanded that the file with the first investigation should have come to him, for him and cabinet, for him to decide whether or not he will take it to cabinet, and they will discuss it and decide how to move forward thereafter. Why? As I had said in my original statement, when this issue, the Budna issue, first occurred, I said that Mr. Budna had problems with all 4 division representatives in the Orange Walk, and others, by the way. That was clear. And I pointed out who they were. I called them out by name. And I pointed out some of the instances that he had problems with them about. But I also indicated from way back then, and I'm still indicating as of today date, that had that report that they were putting together end up pointing at the Prime Minister, then he should be investigated as well. And regardless of being Prime Minister, he should be held to the account of the constitutional requirements and the laws of the country, because he nor anyone else is above the laws of the country. The Constitution is the supreme law of our country. And we are all, according to Section 6 of our Constitution, supposed to be treated with equal legal and constitutional principles, procedures, and protocols. And the government cannot be making or advocating or dealing with policies of state, with the powers of state, to hide behind, as in the case where the Prime Minister asked for that report, knowingly that that report need to have what you call prominence and chain of custody if it was ever going to be used for a legal matter in a courtroom. And I indicated that just because he decided to tamper, well, I didn't indicate that he was tampering, but the fact that he decided to accept custody of that first report, which he should have turned back and refused to accept, because that matter was supposed to have gone to the DPP. Now, after the fact, after a second report was done, and they figure out how they can play with the report to the point where the report does not point the finger at the culpable person or anyone, for a matter of fact, as is indicated by what Ms. Vidal said, it's less than nothing. How can the hell police investigative report turn out to be less than nothing? After all that we have seen, haven't you seen what we have seen? Aren't they the experts in the investigative process? Shouldn't they have gotten more substantive facts in that report to enable the DPP or any other prosecutor to move forward successfully? Even if they didn't have enough, they could have gotten more afterwards. That is what the Prime Minister is saying. Now that he has decided that a crime must or could have or should have or may have been committed, according to him, he's now also a jurisprudent. He has learned enough law or have heard other people advocate about the legality of the matter. Now that he is apparently exculpated according to the first report and the second report, he can afford to indicate that the matter should go to the DPP, which is where it should have gone in the first place, and not to him. The fact is that as regards to this, the DPP, the current DPP, and the statements she's making, those statements cut both ways. It addresses the legality of the process, because that's what, when she's a process perspective, she's not speaking to the reality of something that happened, that as far as she can say, there's no legal basis in the reports for her to be able to take forward, because either it didn't happen, or the report, as the Prime Minister also alluded to, because I like to use their own words, as we already want to show, he alluded to the fact that if the report that was given to Ms. Vidal had anything less than what they had received from the original report, if her report was so good to the point that it could have gone then or recommended by the Prime Minister to go to the DPP, it either means that the DPP has not read the report, or that, as the Prime Minister says, maybe there was a different report given to her than what they had gotten before. In other words, he is trying to go to bat for the police officer that supposedly did that report, while hanging the DPP out there to say, well, if what the DPP received is less than what they had in their report, then that's not their problem. That's the DPP issue. That's why he is saying that he was aggrieved and upset with her the way she stated what the report contained.
Mr. Brackett.
1 minute. I'll close right now, sir. I'll close and give it. But one salient point that we all need to remember, that is that if the report was tampered with or was not tampered with, but it wasn't done right, whichever of those circumstances prevail, the bottom line is that the DPP will not get any better of a report from the police department that produced the first two reports. She has no muscle to go and force them to do what's right. So if she cannot get from them voluntarily a better report, then she can't go forward. That is what she's stipulating. And at the end of the day, this issue will turn out just as I had said the first time we spoke about it. It will go no way. And their intention and effort is to make it go nowhere. But it will go somewhere, believe me.
Amen. Thank
That's
you.
not going to blow over like Ruby. Thank you.
Mr.
Thank
Chairman,
you. You want to go ahead, Greg? Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, it have been many nights when a lot of issues would be happening in the village, and the question was asked by me, who is policing the police? It is coming to pass as we speak, because I want to say this. This is not only an international crime of kidnapping,
Mm-hmm.
it is also conspiracy, and it is also blackmail, where police officers were promised certain things, and if they don't get it, this can happen and that can happen. So it goes beyond what the DPP is saying and what the Prime Minister has said. In fact, it made the investigator look, so in my belief, stupid, to be highly recommended and will be able to do her job, to submit something of nothing is totally ludicrous. Because guess what? With all the DPP said about Jules Vasquez couldn't have said it any better than this.
Need to know. I definitely don't need to know. I am last on the list.
Jules, now let's talk about Bodna. Criminal conspiracy to cover up.
It's the end of the year. I really urge the Prime Minister or some functionary of the government, I would say the compel, but I haven't seen him in a while, but I would urge somebody to come forward and say, listen, we're caught. Whatever. You know, functionaries of the state did this. At least give us an approximation of the truth. But to continue to hide behind a tissue of lies. It is a tissue of lies, and it is tearing. Has frayed at the corner, and now it is tearing in the middle. It is a tissue of lies to say that, to not accept that police were involved, to not accept that police officers, poor Mr. Choco, other officers were pulled into a criminal conspiracy not of their own making, something they could not have conceived of, something they did not plan, something they did not execute. But they have been drawn in. Believe me, when this year started off, Mr. Choco never wanted to become a national name. He was pulled into it because of the complete incompetence with which state actors tried to pull off the abduction of a citizen. It is a tissue of lies. Quit hiding behind the man is a pedophile. They're not the parents of the victims who abducted him. It is a political actor who initiated it and sent it to police who executed it. Tell the children the truth. The tissue of lies is torn, Mr. Prime Minister. For Christmas, tell us the truth. We have unearthed a conspiracy, and it involves XYZ. You cannot continue to hide behind a tissue of lies. It is torn. You are naked. You are seen to be upholding criminality, of which I do not believe the Prime Minister was a part. But if he was not complicit in it, and I do not believe he was, he is making himself complicit by not accepting the central reality of something that happened in his own constituency. Have some pride, sir. Have some pride for Orange Walk Central at least. And accept. Because it's a crime could have happened. A crime happened in your constituency. The whole country has seen it. Every single Belizean has seen this horrible grainy footage. I wish it weren't grainy. Every Belizean has seen it. And now every Belizean knows that police officers were told to give a false statement to uphold ACP Anderson, that you continue to maintain your constituent is the best police officer. Well, they put together a fraudulent investigation, sir. They made police officers, they forced them under the will of the high command under the gravitational force of the high command, they made good police officers go and give fraudulent statements. One of them had to go to an officer's house to do it. They went to, who gives a statement? Who signs a statement in a senior officer's house? You have involved police officers in a criminal conspiracy.
Yeah.
Sir, tell the children the truth. Do not uphold criminality in your country. The tissue of
Mr. Chairman, can I beg your indulgence, sir?
Greg,
I know all of us.
give Greg, Greg, you want to, before I pass it to Leonard?
Go ahead, Mr. Chairman. I just
Go ahead,
wanted
Leonard.
to hear the reply.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, to both of you. I will say this, and I will say it as many times as need to be said, without any regrets, without any pulling of my tongue, like I said. The fact now, as of today, that we are having this discussion, everything that we have learned about the Bunda kidnapping until now, the cover-up is becoming worse than the original crime itself, because in the original crime, you had a few people involved. In the cover-up, you have the whole damn police department, cabinet, and everybody else involved. Whether they like so or not, cabinet, anything discussed in cabinet or taken to cabinet can only be done so under the aegis or the guidance and the acceptance or acquiescence of the Prime Minister. Nothing comes up in cabinet that the Prime Minister has not or does not give prior permission for it to be brought to cabinet's attention. That's how the machinery works. That's the process, the procedures, and the protocols of cabinet. I hope my Belizean people understand that, if they never knew it before. That's how it works. And what happens there is supposed to be kept secret. But why do you think when the Prime Minister decided to change his cabinet and remove Mr. Musa, who was the previous police officer, police minister, after Mr. Musa had already indicated that the matter should have a formal and proper investigation, the Prime Minister lost his trust because he realized that Mr. Musa, as a lawyer, knew what the hell he was talking about and was giving proper advice, not only just speaking to the public, but speaking to his colleagues in cabinet as well, for which he was, that department was taken away from him, and the Prime Minister tried to give it to his brother. I'm definitely sure that both of those gentlemen, as lawyers, they probably spoke first before giving the Prime Minister his response. That is that the second brother would not take that department. Why? He was going
He's
to get,
not an attorney.
okay, he was going to get his hand daubed in a dirty tar, or some people are say, or human excrement, and he refused to allow himself to put into that stuff, knowing that he would have to aid and abet criminality. So they got another person who was more than willing to accept. I mean, the Prime Minister would have gone on the list until he gets one. That's how we have had that happen here in the States with the Nixon firing. So
you.
the bottom line, one other last statement, Mr. Chairman, I was closing out, if you don't mind. Yeah, the bottom line is that the crime now about the cover-up, which they're doing to hope that people forget about the original crime, the cover-up is becoming a bigger crime, and it's stinking to high hell as well. And a lot more people are getting involved and getting roped in, like Mr. Jules Vasquez said, innocently, unwittingly, and unfairly. Those people's career and whatever it's not is getting crushed. But I'll yield back for right now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Again.
I glad. Thank you, Leonard and Greg. I glad that you show these tapes in real time, and We prove, Leonard and Greg, we prove to the Belizean people that, we see the same thing. 98% of the Belizean and the world is seeing. And I'm so glad, that, and Greg, that in my opening again I talk about truth, right? I talk about truth, When on my opening I talk about, truth need to be told, truth need
Mm-hmm.
to be forthcoming. You see, and if anything, as me and Jules, they say the same thing, right? They say the same thing. So I am pleased that we have people out there, and um, at least I could say Channel 7 that is in line with want the truth, Mr. Prime Minister. Same as here, we here in Belizean Affairs, we want the truth. Nothing more or nothing less. We want the truth. And right, I don't know if you could find this clip, right? But not too long ago, a couple days ago, you had the Belize Defense Force personnel and the policeman in Bullet Tree who shot.
You are correct, Mr. Chairman. I brought it up. I
Okay,
brought it up, Mr. Chairman, and
okay.
you know
Let me.
what?
I want you to
Okay.
okay. Let me then I will pass it to my people. You see how the DPP says that I nailed them because of video footage and can't lie, and this is what is there, and then and perverting justice, covering up, and the whole shenanigan. But the main thing was the surveillance footage comes
Mm-hmm.
from her mouth. How she flares that in front of the judge. So I give her the benefit of the doubt that she has not seen, although it's been playing on all the news media and all social media and all that, about this kidnapping and these people who brutally beating, and the Barry Flowers went and speak to Corporal Choco, two policemen, then I know ghosts. No, I can't see how, for the hell of it, that nothing has been done so far in terms of charges, and I'm pretty sure that there is sufficient evidence to bring charges against the police department. Okay, and I will not say others that charges could be brought, could be leveled, but I pity the DPP because she is between a rock and a hard place right now. You hear what she says to Jules? Jules another one to persecute the case, right? But your planner for to bring it out. Now listen to that lady, okay? Now we will wait and see, Greg and Leonard and my people, both at home and abroad, the next step that she will take. Because the way they have it, they are all ghosts. And on the Budna kidnapping, the police then are ghosts. But the one in Santa Familia, that footage, they are not ghosts. They are real people. Real corporal, real policeman, and real BDF. Not ghosts. And you see what she said. Back to you, Greg. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say this, right? You're saying the DPP is caught between a rock and a hard place. But I don't believe that. I will tell you why. She put herself there when she stated what happened to the officer, and the BDF personnel, and how she proudly stated the videotape showed something different. Now we know from the past Minister of Home Affairs that there is two tapes that he knows of. So, in reality, Mr. Karim Musa can become a witness against the state, even though he is a minister, because he knows about two tapes. And also, the Attorney General, who is trying to join the parade with narrative, who is stipulating that he can't say if a crime was committed or not, as to say he didn't see the tape either, so he's not going with that. The answer to all that is what the DPP has said. And you know what, Mr. Vasquez, thank God we the people of Belize have him. He's doing a great job, as we try to do here on Belizean Affairs, and pointed out, because here is the response to what was said to him.
Is this something that your office may have to be looking at in the Budna file that lies before you, that there may have been the perversion of the course of justice?
Definitely, definitely. We are looking towards charges not just for the persons directly involved in the kidnapping, but for the persons who try to get individuals to give false statements, or those who actually gave false statements. The next few weeks are going to be very critical to our investigation.
There you go. So, Mr. Chairman, if nothing didn't happen, why was there a false statement circulating around? That's the question that needs to be answered. I go back to you, sir.
Thank you. And Leonard and Greg, we see initially who was for an independent investigation right away.
Mm-hmm.
We see who was for, and then later on, we see how they hurdle around a table and say, you know what, this independent investigation will kill us. We will die. So let's make sure that we come with a narrative that the laws of Belize does not permit, which, Greg, you prove to them where the law does permit, right? So you see how these people just continue. When a little fire flare up, they continue to, they hurdle around, and they come together, and they figure out how they will blow it off. And then another one will blow up. So this will be a continuous flaring up until everything will compile together, and then the real criminal will have to show themselves. Will have to show themselves. And like you said, Leonard and Greg and myself, this is not just a local or a Belizean situation. All right. So if they think that outside entity aren't involved, they have another thing coming. Another thing coming. Back to you, Leonard. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let us all, as Belizeans, dissect a little bit of what the DPP was intimating. Okay. She lastly, in the last tape that you played, Greg, with her, she accepted the premise that there may be some perversion of justice on the part of other lower rank police officers, because that's where the target is now. because they refuse to be suborned in order to keep the story covered up, they are now going to be put on the fast track to get prosecuted, while the original criminals who initiated the process and also suborned the course of justice from the highest rank all the way down are going to be left off, who were favorable to their objective, that is, to commit the crime, exculpate themselves, brush it under the table, and pretend that it didn't exist, or at least frustrate it from not being able to have a true prosecution and proper verdict. So everybody's going to be exculpated, and nobody's going to suffer no consequences other than the ones who know they're running after full force and full speed to get them because they did not sign or agree to sign the side deal in the cover-up. They're not cooperating with the bigger part of the crime to suborn the whole police department. Innocent people that had nothing to do with the original crime. They're the ones now, the DPP is saying, outright, she alluded to it. Those who are suborning justice and or interfering in the process of justice needs to be dealt with, and they're going to move ahead and deal with them. Why can't she move ahead and deal with the substantive original case? She puts the narrative out there that there's less than nothing, and the Prime Minister gets vexed because she said what was given to her is less than nothing. In other words, she never took the blame, or she never said, well, they gave me a file, and I'm just going to go ahead and do what I could try and do. No, she upfront stated there's less than nothing in the file that they gave her. In other words, it's just like if you give a woman one empty file, no papers in there, no nothing in there. Because if something was in there, she could not legitimately make that statement about less than nothing. There's nothing prosecutable in there. That is to say, the crime may not have been committed. Because if you trust the police officers, then the same one that's supposed to do the original investigation, the second investigation, and now having to go back and do another investigation on her behalf, she can't pressure them to come up with anything different than what they came up with before from the highest level of the police department.
Thank you, Leonard.
You're welcome, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you. You see, Greg and Leonard, this is a habitual practice of the two-party system. When they are caught in corruption, when they are caught about when money is missing, when the passport is missing, when our patrimony has been sold out, and they have independent investigation, Senate and you see how that ends up. You see how that ends up now, and again, you see when they are caught. Like for instance, I'll bring one to notice again. I will revive one in the immigration scandal. You see who always get, because I know one immigration scandal, I know two, many scandals of our passports being stinking around the world, right, full, for a few dollars.
Bucket full.
But at the end of the day, Greg, and then do you know who get caught? Do you know who get penalized? The little clerk. The little clerk.
Mm-hmm.
They are the one that their names got tarnished. And who knows how they went about and accept that crime, because the crime has been committed, and they say, you know what? Who knows? They must be calling these little clerks, you know what? This is what I'll do for you. You accept responsibility, and we call your name, and you and here is a lump sum. Here is a good package. You know how some of us Belizean are. You know how some of us are. So who knows? I'm just putting that out. I'm not saying that is what had happened on most of these scandals. Money missing from transport lately. 30. I don't remember the amount, but a lot of money was missing lately.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, right? Again, and who got roped in on that, whose
And
name was called.
that is not the only department from which money
And
is
that's,
being
I
embezzled,
just,
Mr.
right?
Chairman.
So that's just to show you how these people operate. But again, like I say, Greg and Leonard, I just hope and I pray that these big people at some point in time will be held accountable. And again, like you always say, Leonard and Greg, this is bigger. This last crime that they have committed is bigger than Belize. There are other entities then, there are other entities who will make sure that justice will be served, and they'll make sure that justice is served, right? And they could not believe that, Greg and Leonard. They could not believe that, but it will happen. Back to you, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, but this will not go away. Regardless of what narrative they have placed out there, they cannot get by it. You know why? Because of this, and we keep saying it.
Are you operating on the clear conclusion that obviously a crime was committed in plain view on that night?
Obviously, a crime has been committed. I don't believe there is any doubt in relation to whether or not a crime has been committed. A Belizean citizen was in Belize. He is now in a Guatemalan prison. It was not his intention to go to that Guatemalan prison, and he has spoken, and he has said what happened to him. A crime has been committed. What we need to confirm beyond a reasonable doubt is who was involved in that crime. Not just the actors, as in the ones who detained him against his will, but why did they do it? Where did the instruction come from, or how did the plan originate to do it? This is what we have to look at.
But if we know who did it, why can't they be arrested and charged?
You seem to know who did it, Jules.
He's identified someone. That person was put on interdiction. The acting commissioner took it seriously enough.
Mm-hmm. So, as I said earlier, I need to have it within the four corners of my file.
Well,
That's why she
we
was
know,
given
we know, Mr. Chairman, some heads will turn and some will spin and some will have sleepless nights because, as they say, the proof is in the pudding, and whatever is in the dark must come to light. But, Mr. Chairman, I want to show how things happen in Belize. I want to show connection when we have placement and opening for certain job positions, how these positions are filled, and it's not my curiosity, because it is my belief what was done was outrageous, and I will clear why, but I want to play the tape, and you gentlemen can go at it first.
The paramount, most experienced expert on policing in Belize is Chester Williams, and he was considered for this job, but ultimately the Prime Minister chose you. Your people who are in the business of criticism will say that he chose, when dealing with the Ministry of Home Affairs, he chose the person who is not the most qualified in the country. How would you respond to that?
Well, I disagree with you that I am not the most qualified. The most qualified person would be the person that the Prime Minister selects based on what criteria he has put in place for the job specification of this specific assignment. And again, going back to the previous discussion, the job of the CEO is certainly not in the operational realm of the police department itself. So this is a different function of policing itself. This is leadership and management at the policy level.
Now we heard the tape, Mr. Chairman, and you heard what the new CEO said. My belief is the Prime Minister put Mr. Mira as head of Home Affairs, brought him in from the BDS, and now they retire this gentleman from the Coast Guard and brought him in as the CEO of the police department as so much in reality to say one from BDS, one from the Coast Guard. Let's not forget what the Prime Minister was saying, when he was speaking about the 13th Amendment. I mean, it don't take one too long to visualize certain contextual situations.
Mr. Brackett, the man tell us what he was going to do, and we are seeing him doing it now. When people
Okay?
tell you who they are, if you don't believe them, that's on you. Because as of right now, like you're saying, he's showing us exactly what he intended to do, that he told us he was going to do, because he's now currently doing it. So 100% in agreement with your statement, sir.
Go
So
ahead,
I
Greg.
go back
Go
to
ahead.
Mr.
Go ahead, Greg.
Chairman. I
You
go
weren't
back
you
to
weren't
you.
finished. Go
I
ahead.
go back to you before I continue. Because the good gentleman said he is more than qualified. They have bypassed Mr. Williams, who was a former commissioner, who also have legal background. They bypassed him for this good gentleman right here.
Thank you.
And you heard what he said, that it has to do more with management and policy.
And what the Prime Minister
So
had in his
I
mind.
go back to you, Mr. Chairman, for your
Thank
input
you.
first.
Thank you, Greg. I can see, how that this is my own theory, might not necessarily be so. Yeah, you have a military uh, minister, Mira. He have military experience. Doesn't have police experience. No, he shot at that. Big time shot at that.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, have no experience. I have more experience being as a police and military, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you look at the situation with when Jules asked him about Chester Williams, and Chester Williams have police experience, but he does not have any military experience. But here you have a military minister. Do you think he want to work with Mr. Williams? No. So for me, it was so easy for him to go around all that and went to Mr. Bennett, right? Because the two of them could relate.
But there's a point, Mr. Chairman, there's a point that has been left out. What is that? The commissioner.
Okay, I'll pass it to you. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
That is that the commissioner does not abide, the present commissioner, Mr. Rosado, does not abide the presence of the former commissioner, Mr. Williams. Are we forgetting that? So how then can they bring back Mr. Williams as the previous commissioner to work as the CEO over Mr. Rosado, who is currently in hot water? Hot water and oil were mixed.
Mr. Brackett, you might have a point there, because you remember they didn't see eye to eye. They had even removed his picture off the mural.
Mr. Mira could get along with the present commissioner despite his taintedness. Mr. Mira was willing to accept the department without recognizing what the other gentleman, or the reasons why the other gentleman had rejected that department. Because that department currently and for the near future will be going through hell. And whoever is sitting at the top there as CEO and as police minister will have to be accountable for what's going on in the department that is already corrupted from top to bottom. how the devils are they going to make, things right there? They don't have the ability to do that.
Greg and Leonard, the only problem I see there is that Mira already have his narrative on the Bodna situation. He already concluded and he has his agenda. Now Mr. Bennett says something that Mr. Mira might not like. But that's something easy that they can iron out. Not say that again, my brother, because this is the way the whole cabinet sit. This is the way we boss sit, and this is the way I sit. So this is the way we have to sit. Okay? And Mr. Bennett will follow instructions also. Right? So that are the only conflicting thing, because right away you hear Mira say, you know, I hear about that. That's a done deal. That put that thing and case closed and it is what it is. Bennett mentioned, if you listen to how he talked, he would like to have that thing properly investigated.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, right? The difference between the two is Mr. Bennett is a no-nonsense person. He believes in good policies, and good management. And before I say any more, let's hear what he had to say on it.
Thank you.
So the people at home and abroad can hear.
We discuss certain things that at this point cannot be divulged. It's not for public consumption, but we both pledged to work together. And I gave him the directions that I receive in terms of administration and adding structure to the ministry. I hinted on some of the changes that will be coming in terms of improving the department and improving the ministry on a whole, and discussing where we can go in terms of inspiring the police department and influencing our communities that we're here to serve. So it was a very productive and a very good meeting, and I do look forward to supporting the police department and supporting the forensic services, the prison service, the enterprise, and the firearm control board as well. So there's a broad range of responsibility here, but obviously the police department, which is by far the largest department in the ministry, requires special attention in terms of implementation of strategy, moving the department forward.
Now, I want to say this people at home and abroad to Mr. Bennett. I hear you loud and clear, but what you are speaking about cannot be done until the police department policies are aligned with the Constitution of Belize. That is the only way you will have good management and good policing. Because right now, you have some rogue officers and you have some who is acting under the color of law. You have some ministers who is acting under the color of law and using executive powers. So the only way that will succeed is to align the policies with the Constitution. And I want to say this, I have a strong belief. If this does not happen, Mr. Bennett might walk away in the near future, as the former Attorney General did, and as the no business senator. I go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Right on the money there, Greg. Very, very key component of getting things, done the right way. Key component. Thank you. Leonard?
Uh, Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Greg, for your lucid and excellent observation, analysis, and conclusions. Right, spot on the money. I'd like to add to the discussion tonight as well another little point, and that is that while Mr. Bennett may come as a breath of fresh air with some level of commitment to try and do better, he does not make the policies of state. He executes the policies of state that are made by someone else or others, so to speak. And if those others' policies of state, as Greg said, are not aligned with the Constitution or are not intended to align with the Constitution, there's very little Mr. Bennett will do or be able to do or accomplish in that regards. And that is then the reason why, as Greg has stipulated, he may find himself walking away. Because the way he speaks and his apparent interest and commitment and intention to function in that position is not germane to the intent of those who are above him who actually run the show. He can come in and hand and pull and do what he knows needs to be done right just because he's given that position. That position is subordinate to those who
The man speaks with integrity, Mr. Brackett.
They don't want that. They have a conflict with integrity. That's why they want to
And
change.
you know what? The first thing he will bump head with is the 13th Amendment.
To start with, let's go there. So we can get this thing cleared up moving forward and fix what ails us if we can get the cooperation of those who wield the power. Those who wield the power, who we have voted in and given the authority and the power based on our Constitution and as indicated under the preamble, those individuals must run the system in such a way that the powers of state aggregate and put forward policies of state to the benefit of the Belizean people. But these guys are not about that. They take the powers of state and accrue benefits to themselves and who they choose to. That is our problem. We need people of moral, high integrity and character who are committed to what they swear, because they swear allegiance to do what's right on behalf of the people. But after they get the power, that's not what their effort is about. Look at the current situation, which is becoming worse than what happened during their first term. In this second term, the man and they go, like for broke. They are dealing with all kind of evil, nefarious actions and even inside policies then of state that they are putting in place are totally against, goodwill towards the people. Why? They have the power and they will have it at least vested in them for the next 5 years, unless you have an internal revolution, which is not likely under Fui scenarios because Fui people are not of that mindset. So these guys will ride us, use, abuse, and misuse us for the next 5 years, authorize to them to do so. And there's nothing we can do about it, well, at least so far. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you. So right on that, Leonard. I cannot see, why it's so hard to do the right thing. I cannot see, I understand that, you have a thing they call discretion, discretion,
Mm-hmm.
And the law tells you that too, right? Part of the Constitution tells you about discretion,
Mm-hmm.
right? But, like, it's so hard, for these guys to do the right thing. Past and present leaders that we have had, right? Like you mentioned there, what they're all about, right? Perverting justice, right? looking out for only themselves and a few after they get that they swear that allegiance, right? And so sadly, guys, like the people give them that mandate to every which time, and to every time they end up corrupted, and their time is finished, and they walk around the very same people, right? And not a word I say I'm sorry, right? And what they do, they go around, turn around 190 degrees and come back and ask them again to give me another chance, right? I mean, these guys have no morals, they have no shame, right? I mean, that's how I see that. No morals, no shame, right? So how do I want to, me personally, I would like to associate myself with these individuals? Hell no. I would not want to be a part of these kinds of actions, or be involved, or be colluded, or being seen with. They are being seen with some of these criminals, and they are public people, right? They're public, and they are the worst criminals. I'm telling you, with no shame. Greg, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, this is the outcome we will hope for in the Budnaz case.
Yes, the judge delivered her verdict yesterday. She found him guilty of murder. So this was in relation to the actual killing of Jesse Escobar. Did, as part of the defense, advance that he did not intend to kill Jesse Escobar. The main part of their defense, however, was self-defense. In relation to intention, the judge would have been required to look at all of the circumstances of the case. And in her judgment, she said she considered the weapon that was used, the distance from which the shot was fired, and all of the circumstances leading up to what had taken place. And of course, in this case, the weapon used was an M4 carbine, which it came out in evidence had a kill range of over 400 feet. And Jesse was just a few feet away, and the weapon was aimed towards his chest when the trigger was pulled. So it was certain death. So the judge did not agree that there was no evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he intended to kill Jesse when he fired the shot. But as I said, the main defense was self-defense. He said that he felt that his life was in danger. But we were thankfully able to satisfy the court beyond a reasonable doubt that this man, who was not approaching him aggressively, but yes, admittedly was walking towards him, but had only a plastic cup in his hand, was really not threatening his life, and he could not have honestly believed that his life was in danger.
So there you go, Mr. Chairman. This is the outcome we hope will happen, and I hope the DPP pursue it the same way they had pursued this case and bring justice because of what happened. I go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, man. That is so, watching these things, it's really mind-boggling what's really going on in our country, and the people who we entrust our safety to. It's so sad. So like I've said before, I the same way they had pursued that case, that's why I brought it up. The same way I would like them to pursue that Budna kidnapping. These people aren't ghosts. The same way that the soldier and the policeman weren't ghosts. They were real people in uniform. Leonard, I give you 16. I give you 4 minutes, Leonard, for closing. You're closing. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Somehow, we cannot despair to the point of just giving up and believing that, well, these people will have mercy upon us, or, you know, just for the hell of it, reverse their course, because there's nothing in their past that shows that they ever have been willing to reverse course on anything that they undertake. Because everything that they undertake is well calculated. No, don't care how nefarious it is, don't care how evil it is, don't care how malignant it is. It is always calculated for them to derive the benefits of those efforts. They hide behind the authority vested in the system of governance, and they collude in cabinet and turn around and give the country mismanagement. They lie to us, they obfuscate the truth, they pervert justice, which is what the Prime Minister was doing. That alone should get him a charge. Am I a bit too off, you know,
No,
in making such a statement?
no, you're perfectly in order. Perfectly in order.
None did by taking control of that first investigation. And he was advised on many occasions that he should not have taken that up, and that, or he should not get involved with the second investigation. But the second investigation from the get start was just a means to cover up the first investigation shortage. And the first investigation was to cover up what the police commissioner had said had not happened. And as of today date, everybody, including the current DPP, in my summary now, I'm bringing this to conclusion, is in a position where she cannot do much more than what she says she can do. That is, she can't prosecute. There's less than nothing in the file that they're throwing over to her after 2 major police investigation. Then that file went to the Prime Minister, and when it came back to the DPP, there's less than nothing. What did the Prime Minister do to exculpate those whom they were trying to exculpate from the get-go? But he will say, he also said that maybe what the DPP got in her file was not what he got in his file. So what is he intimating then when he said that? If it can work, that the whole thing can be scrapped and thrown out, or cannot be dealt with going forward, then they achieve their objective, which is what they set out to do initially, with the initial cover-up. But currently, he's blaming the DPP, or at least he's saying that he's disappointed in how the DPP classified the file. Why? He expected the DPP to have said, oh, well, the file is good enough, we're going to try and prosecute, but we don't know who we're going to try and prosecute, because nobody is named in the file. At least based on what Jules asked the DPP, the DPP response is that there's no names in the file. Jules said, but there are names that the report's supposed to reflect, that's supposed to come in the file if the investigation was done properly, because those facts are already known in public, with the tape having been shown over and over and over so many times. The fact that the DPP may not be privy to the other tapes that we were asking for doesn't mean that she can't prosecute. You don't have to depend on the police officers then to tell her whether or not she should or should not prosecute, because when there's files, she prosecute, and it's not based on only what they tell her. Her skills and ability and her experience guides her along the path of the prosecution. Even when the files are short, she has shown the capacity and the ability to be able to do good prosecution. and come up like we saw in the last clip that appeared with the gentleman that got shot, get a conviction out of the process. There have been literally hundreds of other cases that have not been prosecuted. Why? Because the evidence is not there. Because police officers disappear evidence out of the files. That has happened over and over and over. So maybe she got a file that somebody disappeared the evidence out there. From the hands of the Prime Minister to the hands of the DPP, somehow some of the file material got disappeared. For him to get upset when she said there's nothing in the file. Probably he saw paperwork in the file that was sent to her. And he believed that, well, with that, she should be able to prosecute. But she's saying she cannot prosecute because there's no paperwork or there's no evidence in the file. There's probably no names called. There's nothing to indicate that she has somebody to even charge. She has to depend on the police to be her investigators. She's not personally going to go out there and do the investigation. No, she's going to hire private investigators. There are other alternative ways to get this process done. But at the end of the day, they don't want any prosecution of anyone. But everybody that participates in the process to get the deed done, to kidnap, beat, and human traffic Mr. Budna and get him over to Guatemala, help to get what they want to have done. Those officers were sent on a mission. They succeeded with their mission at a cost of exposing the whole dastardly deed, and got caught because of their incompetence and they bumbled the process. But again, what do they care whether it wasn't done right or whatever? It was done. So therefore, they are not supposed to suffer no consequence, or nobody's supposed to go to jail. Are you back, sir?
Thank you, Leonard. Well put together, and that's in your eyes, and
there are a bunch of unconvicted criminals.
That's basically what it is. Greg, I give you 4 minutes, my brother. Go ahead. Hold on. Go ahead, Leonard, quickly.
Probably 5 words. They will say that they're not criminals because they're not convicted. They commit the crime, but they're not convicted. So we can't classify them as criminals.
Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My good cousin, I want to reestablish. I was saying that the police department was doing kidnapping from 2018 when they were picking up these young men and state of emergencies that were illegal without they have committed any crime. I also want to say right now and here, I hope the people of Belize at home and abroad has listened to what the head of the DPP department had said, that she cannot arrest anybody until she puts the file together. I also want the public to look at the El Murna case, in which they are trying to use a videotape to criminalize him. And here we have a clearer videotape than the El Murna's videotape, of which I personally look at the videotape myself in the El Murna case, and I can categorically see it. From what I know, the person is a right-handed person, and I'm putting it out there. The person in that tape is right-handed. But, Mr. Chairman, I also want to say, this is why I'm saying.
I want you to mention that shooting in Belmopanto with that surveillance when the lady was set free, shot and killed the young man not too long ago.
Yes,
right?
I can recall that.
Okay.
I can recall that. But I want to open the public's eyes because a lot of these young men are sitting behind prison and false allegations and surveillance video. A lot of these young men are picked up and are held under unlawful detainment with no video evidence as that, and then the police go around and try to come up with something within 48 hours to put on these young men to have a charge. And how can they defend that?
Mr. Chairman,
So people really have to look up and listen when these people speak, because it is what is happening in our society today,
sir.
as well as knowing when it is self-defense and when it is not. Because some self-defense is outright murder and is only favored towards certain individuals. Because I've known a lot of self-defense where people, young men and females, are locked up in the prison, especially some females after going through domestic violence for so long. And when they do get tired and react in self-defense, they are convicted and put away, like Miss Nora Parham.
Amen to
I
that.
want to bring that back. I go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You want to just say thank you, Greg? Well said, Greg. Leonard, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. On the point that you brought up just now about the young lady that was given basic amnesty, so to speak, or another career because of the self-defense issue. But wasn't there tapes? No. Wasn't there some evidence? No. Well, there was a lot of evidence. There's confession on the part of the people and why they did what they did. And still there was no prosecution. Why? Remember that word that you used earlier in the program, Mr. Wade? Discretion?
Discretion, yeah. Discretion. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And I have my reservation on that. The individuals are, they have people in high places. The individuals involved in that Belmopan murder, where one lady was arrested and for that crime, and then the other one got away, and then the one that was arrested got exculpated. There's no charges on that, right? So that speak volume. And I just hope and pray that in that scenario that the family of that young man doesn't sit by idle and let that go water under the bridge.
The one
Right.
word, Mr. Chairman.
So
The one word. Discretion.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I never said nothing after I said discretion just now.
Yes, exactly.
That's what
Exactly.
it's on too.
Exactly. But as always, time is always we're pretty much on that hour now, hour and a half. So I want to thank you, Greg, as always, brother, to show to the nation the things that we talk about, and you show to the nation, from their very own action and words, right? Not from what we say or what we think about them. No, it comes from them, right? And then we talk about how we see it and what we think is wrong and what we think should be done. I just hope and pray that tonight's program, shed some light and show to the nation and the Belizean people the things that we talk about, the things that concerns us, right? And how we see it. We speak truth, and I call on the before I leave, I call on the Prime Minister of this country to stop lying to the Belizean people, and I call on you, please, sir, give the people and the nation and the world a nice Christmas gift in coming with some truth and coming, as to what you actually know and what you actually did and what you actually didn't do from the heart. And on that note, I want to, again, thank you, Greg. Thank you, Leonard. It's always a pleasure. And season greetings to all my Belizean people, both at home and abroad. Festive season. Enjoy responsibly. Don't forget the deplorable conditions of our highways. Drive responsibly. Don't drink and drive. The drugs and all that. Don't use it while on the road. Wait till you get home or get somewhere where you're sitting down. And after you do it, don't get behind the wheel, right? Again, enjoy yourself responsibly. And for those people who had lost their loved ones, our condolences through this medium. We hope that you get some closure and justice be served. We hope that all those who are waiting justice, before the year out, get the justice you deserve. On that note, I want to say good night.
Oh. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good night.
Thank you.
I want to
Thank you,
end the
Greg.
program with this.
Nice program.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in a state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Government should be protecting us from the foul results of corruption instead of being the proponents and participants in corruption. When corruption is systemic, when it's a culture and a way of life, when corruption thrives, it destroys the health of the community and nation. Now let me tell you something. Defeating corruption is a very difficult thing. The love of money is the root of all evil, the Bible says. People who love money will do almost anything to get it. Those who choose to stand up against corruption, you need to know that we're going to be involved in a war. We will be threatened